Hi, I'm Angie Dubas, and today I'll be demonstrating Biotone's Raspberry Sunrise Hot Stone Therapy. The setup for today's protocol will be a fitted sheet, flat sheet, and blanket, and then we'll use an additional flat sheet and 2 bath towels for the exfoliation stage, and we'll need a small hand towel for a breast drape. We'll also need 4 to 5 warm, moist hand towels for the removal of the exfoliant product, and a variety of sizes of hot stones for the hot stone therapy. The products we're using in today's therapy are the Berry Buff Sugar Body Polish, the Mango and Mandarin Customizing Complex, Revitalizing Massage Oil, and Tangerine Essential Oil. We'll also need 2 rubber spubbles and a bolster for our client's comfort. Once our client's on the table and we come back in the room, we're going to want a breast drape. So we can use a hand towel or maybe a pillowcase cover. I like to take it and puddle it at the neck, crossing over the top bath towel by about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. We'll pull that taunt, slide down just below the clavicle, and then fold it back up. And then we'll take this and tuck it in next to the arm to ensure that it's secured throughout the therapy. Our first step of this protocol is exfoliation. So for that, we're using our Berry Buff Sugar Body Polish and 30 drops of Mango and Mandarin Customizing Complex. I'm going to go ahead and undrape her leg, bringing the side leg out just a little bit farther. And I'm going to bend her knee up, pulling this top bath towel underneath her leg so that she stays securely draped. We'll take a little bit of our body polish. I'm going to hold her knee with the hand that is closest to her foot, and I'm going to apply a nice even layer of the exfoliant, and then I'm going to exfoliate using 3 small circles. So the first pass is with the tips of my fingers, the second pass with the flats of my fingers, and the third pass with my whole hand. Each pass gets just slightly deeper. Switch my hands, get a little bit more product, and do the same thing on the back of the thigh. Apply it a nice even layer, flats of the fingertips, flats of fingers, and whole hand. And then I can take her leg, and if I bring her foot just a little closer to a bum, maybe at about a 90-degree angle, I can push her knee in, and that'll allow me to exfoliate high on the hip. And bring her leg back down and apply an even layer of exfoliant all the way up the leg. And then again, fingertips, flats of fingers, and then whole hand. You should see the skin get ever so slightly pink as you exfoliate. And this is exfoliation, not massage, so we move somewhat quickly, paying a little extra attention to the rougher, drier skin along the top of the knee, the ankles, the heels, and the side of the foot. We'll cover that back up and repeat on the other leg. And I'll come after we've completed that other leg. We'll come and fold this towel down and bring her arm here to the outside. And I'm going to apply the exfoliant in a long, even layer up the arm and across the décolleté. And then repeat. 3 series of circles. Tips of fingers, flats of fingers, and whole hand. To get the back of the arm, we'll go ahead and bring her arm up and cross it across her chest, and that allows me to get the elbow. I do the movements away from the face because I don't want to sling any type of exfoliant toward her face. So we're going to work in a counterclockwise direction here. Repeat on the décolleté. The other arm, and then the belly. And I kind of work around the belly button in a little circle, trying to avoid getting exfoliant in the belly button so we don't have to clean it out. Just a little bit more product here. So, and you might be able to see here, there's just a little bit of pink, and that's what we want to see. We'll cover her back up and prepare for removal. To remove the product from the leg, I've got a warm, moist hand towel. I'm going to go ahead and undrape her leg. Take my hand towel, open it all the way, check it for temperature, make it sure it's not too hot. If it's too hot for me, it's too hot for her. And then as I lay it across, is that okay? All right, great. I'm going to press, and then I'm going to slide my towel down and press again. Notice I did not press, pick my towel up and move it. I slid it down. So press, slide down, press, and then I'm going to fold this towel in half. And once again, I'm going to slide it up to match the groin line. And now I'm going to kind of do a rolly motion to gather all of the exfoliant, kind of lifting it up into the towel. And then I'm going to fold that into itself to contain that exfoliant. I can use this to do another wipe off. I'm going to lift her leg up and bend it at the knee, bringing that towel in to make sure she stays draped well. I'm going to take this towel, make sure I can handle it well. My hand that's closer to her head, I'm going to hold her knee, and then I'm going to come behind her leg to clean the back of her thigh off. And then I'm going to switch and clean the back of her calf. Now at this point, I'm going to bring her leg cross body, assuming she can do that, to the knee. This is going to hold her leg in place. And what that allows me to do, I can rest this here, is fold this under towel in a little bit, and then I can press her knee across, and that's going to allow me to clean the back of the thigh off really well, like high on the hip if we exfoliated across the top and the bottom of her buttocks. Fold that bottom towel in a little bit more. Bring that leg down, and then I have the other side here that I can use for little bits of cleanup and to clean off her feet, making sure to get in between the toes. And then we can go ahead and cover her back up with the top of this towel. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other leg, using the unused portion of this towel. So we used this side, but this side of the towel hasn't been used at all. So we'll go ahead and repeat those steps using the inside of this same towel. Tips of fingers, flats of fingers, and whole hand in 3 passes, getting progressively deeper, and you can see the skin starting to get pink there from the exfoliation. And we'll take another warm, moist hand towel, rest it across her back, and press. Then I'm going to let that rest there a second. I'm going to remove the head towel, roll this towel in the rest of the way, and then we're going to roll this towel so that it captures all of that exfoliant and accordion the top sheet and the blanket down to the base of her spine. I'm going to remove the rest of this exfoliant, folding this towel in on itself. I've only used one side of this towel, so I'm going to use the other side for little bits of cleanup for the rest of the body, in case there's any spots we missed. So go ahead and come back slowly. Good. And now I'm just going to use this towel here to do one more pass over her arms. And I'll kind of set this to the side in case I need to use it again. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to flip her out of this setup. So I'm going to fold this into the inside. I'm keeping her legs bent. I'm going to fold this into the inside here. And I'm going to grab this towel here with the top sheet between my thumb and my pointer finger. And I'm going to grab all of this material, this blanket and this top sheet, with my fingertips. All right. And now what you're going to do is just push on the bottom of your feet, lift your bum up. There you go. And come back down. And now lift your feet up for me. And then slide them back down. And you can see here, I've kept this all here on the table. Now I can fold this in neatly, capturing any exfoliant that's in there so it doesn't get all over my floor. And I'm going to roll that in. Put that in there. So now the only thing that we have to do before we're ready for our hot stone therapy is remove that top towel. And it's also got some exfoliant on it, so we want to do that carefully. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you just move your arms to the side. I'm going to grab the top of that towel. I'm going to have you reach up here, if you don't mind, and just hold that sheet ever so slightly for me. Thank you. So I'm going to reach under here, and from the side, I'm going to grab that top towel, and I'm going to roll it. And then I can just slide that off of her feet, and I have a nice rolled up towel that I can drop into my laundry bin. So I've gone ahead and removed my hot stones from my professional grade warmer and set them on a towel so that they can just cool slightly. We heated those at 110 to 130 degrees, submerged in water with them setting on a towel inside of the roaster to ensure they didn't get overly hot on one side. So I'm going to go ahead and undrape her leg. And I'm going to separate the top blanket with the top sheet so I can lift the leg from the heel and pull that top sheet under to ensure proper draping. And now I'm going to apply a little bit of our revitalizing massage oil. I put 10 drops of tangerine essential oil in here to make it smell yummy and delicious. And it does. All right, so we're going to apply that, a nice even layer. And then I'm going to get just a little bit more, and I'm going to coat my hot stones in that. Now my stones, if they're too hot for me, they're too hot for my client. So is this okay? Okay, good. So I'm going to start with larger stones, and I'm just going to do a stroke from the top of the ankle to the top of the thigh. I'm going to kind of frame the anterior tibialis, because I don't want to run this stone right over the top of the bone. That won't feel very good. So I'm just off center to avoid that top of the bone. I'm going to gently round the knee and then bring my stones all the way up to the top of the hip to ASIS and around. And then coming out a little bit farther, I'm going to come up the sideline and the inner line of her thigh. And I'm going to repeat those movements. Now, if when I started, if I had felt any exfoliant left on the skin, I could have used an extra warm, moist hand towel to just remove any of that extra exfoliant, ensuring that her leg was nice and clean and ready for the hot stone massage. After maybe 3 or 4 strokes from the ankle to the top of the leg, we're going to go ahead and start moving cross body here. So one hand is on the outside, one is on the inside, and I'm going to squeeze and lift. And I kind of bring my body, you can kind of see I dip down on the hip, and I'm moving from one leg to the other. That way this movement is not coming from my arms, it's coming from my waist and my hips, so it's not very hard on my body. And now I'm going to start moving from the center line, using the edge of the stone away from the bone gently. While you're doing this, if you happen to feel a little adhesion, like there's a little tight spot here just on the lateral side of the front of her calf. So I'm going to take the edge of the stone and I'm just going to do some slow stripping motions through that tissue. You doing okay there? Is that tender a little bit?
Okay.
It's good? Okay. And if you feel a trigger point, you can also stop and just hold it there for a second. You don't want to keep a hot stone in a stagnant position. We're never ever going to rest a hot stone on the body. That's a very good way to burn somebody, and that's not what we want to do. So we're going to keep these guys moving, but we can pause for a few seconds and hold. How's that feel there? All right. And then we can kind of come through with our hands a little bit too. Get some squeezes in there, cover up, and repeat on the other leg. Now that we've finished our hot stone massage on the legs, we're going to move up to the arms, the belly, and the décolleté. I've changed stones to a smaller size stone for these smaller, more delicate areas. I'm going to go ahead and come and undrape, checking the breast drape to make sure that it's secure. I'm going to fold that down just below the breast drape and then fold it in at the side here. I'm going to check her arm to see if there's any stray exfoliant, and I'm going to have a barely damp warm towel that I can use to do any necessary cleanup. And then I can even dust off the sheet underneath to ensure that there's no exfoliant there. She looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and get some of my revitalizing massage oil and apply that to the arm on both sides and the décolleté. There we go. And then we get a little bit more to coat my hot stones. Making sure I get enough so that they slide nicely. Okay, how's the temperature? It's okay? All right. So I'm going to take this stone and place it in her hand as I hold that. And then this stone I'm going to lay flat and come up over the elbow and the shoulder. Wrap around right here. I'm going to lighten up so that I drift over the clavicle. I don't want to press into the bone very deeply. And I'm just going to do gentle strokes like that 3 times. How does that feel? Good. Good, she says. All right. Bringing her hand up, holding that stone there. And I'm keeping a kind of a check on the temperature of this stone. I can let it rest there a little bit, but not for very long. I'm going to take the side of this stone and strip her arm out. Now, if that's uncomfortable, you can't hold it, we can always set this stone down. We can pop a knee up to rest her arm there, and that'll give a little bit of backing to it. I'm just going to do pretty gentle because this can be really tender, but for folks who are sitting at the computer and typing and whatnot, it feels so good. Is that a little head nod there? Yeah. The key is just to not work too deep. I'm going in layers, so I'm going one little layer at the time. And then we're going to bring her arm across her chest, and I'm going to hold her elbow. And the same thing, I'm going to work my stone from the elbow up to the back of her arm to her shoulder. And I can even press that up, getting into teres major and teres minor a little bit. Okay there? And always lighten up as you cross over a bone. And then we're just going to do some gentle work along her hand into her palm. Great. And we'll bring that across the décolleté. And then right here I'm going to scoop down and then lighten up as I come across the front of the achromium process, bringing that through the shoulder and then back gently. We can use the edges of the stone to clear the sternum. Again, very, very light, gentle pressure, not pressing deep into the bone at all. And then we'll bring that across and repeat on the other arm. Once we've completed that other arm, we'll come and undrape the belly. Apply our oil to the belly. And then either using the same stones or new stones, depending on their temperature. If they're not warm enough, we may need some new stones. Mine are still pretty warm. See if is that warm enough for you? Okay, good. So I'm going to come to the side of her belly and I'm going to lift and come underneath her ribs and around. And then when I get here, I'm going to do small circles. So I'm at that bottom left corner of her abdomen and I'm going to do small circles. And then I'm going to come right up underneath her ribs and do small circles on the left of the high side. Come over to the right, right underneath the ribs, and then right inside of ASIS on the bottom right. So our intestinal tract, food exits here, and our large intestines wrap like so. So we're clearing each of the corners of the large intestines. So bottom left, top right, bottom right, clockwise circles, and then coming back to the bottom left, I'm going to start basically backtracking myself and working in a clockwise direction with my motions moving in a counterclockwise. So I'm pulling clockwise as I move counterclockwise. And then I can bring that all together into a single movement. And then pull up from the sides. How does that feel? Good. Good. Awesome. All right. We'll go ahead and flip her over and give her her hot stone therapy on the posterior side. Just going to kind of do a touch up, especially kind of in between the toes. Make sure there's no exfoliant left on the foot or the ankle. We get a little bit of our revitalizing oil. And apply that. And then I've gotten some fresh hot stones. I've set them out for a few minutes to kind of cool off a little bit. I'm going to apply some oil to those. All right, and then starting just above the ankle at the Achilles, is that temperature okay? You okay there? Give me a head nod if you're all right. Okay, good deal. And I'm just going to do, kind of using the flat part of the stone here as well as the edge. I'm going to squeeze the Achilles tendon ever so slightly with the edge of the hot stones. And I'm not pressing really hard here, I'm just kind of giving a little tiny pressure and a lift. Do that a few times, and then I'm going to slide up the back of the calf and stopping at the back of the knee and sliding back down, and I'm going to repeat that 3 times. Now I'm going to come in, I'm going to bring the edges of my stones together, pressing toward the center, and slide up the back of the calf, separating the soleus a little bit. And then when I get to the back of the knee, round out to the outside and into the inside, back down, and again. Again, my pressure is pretty light here. All right, and now I'm going to come up, sliding gently over the back of the knee, softening up some, coming straight up the back of the leg, and then I'm going to just give a little bit of pressure into the ischial tuberosity, lighten up to round over, bringing that all the way up to the iliac crest, and looping around to the top of the greater trochanter, and then you can actually lean back a little to pull the stone into the top of the greater trochanter, and then lighten up, slide down the back of the leg. Now we're going to come to the lateral side of the leg, pressing up, lightening up on the side of the knee, and then increasing our pressure into the IT band, pressing off the back of my foot, lightening up slightly as I get to the top of the greater trochanter, coming around into the iliac crest, and then we're going to come from the lateral to the medial to bring that into the sacrum. You okay there? I'm just going to press and hold for a second into the sacrum. And now I'm going to use the sides of the stones to create little circular motions, working around the lateral side of the sacrum and around the iliac crest. And I'm just going to kind of work my way around, coming all the way back down to basically ischial tuberosity and greater trochanter. And then we can do our cross bodies, just like we did on the anterior leg. Softening at the back of the knee. You can lift this leg up, rest it on your shoulder, and this will soften this tissue. And then you can really lift that, and I'm using the lateral edge of the stone to do that. How's that feel? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like awesome, how does that feel? That's like, that's a 10. Okay. You don't usually get too many complaints from this movement. All right, we just may as well bring that all the way up the hip. There you go. If you've got somebody who's got really tight glutes and you want to get a little extra into the glute area, what we can do is bend the leg up, bring the foot to the inside, take our stone right at the top of the greater trochanter and hold it down, and then rotate the leg to the outside, letting all those external rotators slide underneath the hot stone. So with each movement in and out, I work my way closer to the sacrum. Okay, I'm going to trade out these stones for a smaller stone that I've left over their setting that's warm but not super hot. You can kind of gauge how warm you want them to be. I'm going to use this to do some detailed work on her foot. So I'm going to bring the edge of the stone into her heel, working around her heel. And I can even do little presses and frictions. And I'm going to use that to do pressure along the lateral side of her foot. And then I'm going to basically work it on each toe. So I'm grabbing the toe and doing little circles and bringing the stone with me. We can pull that off of each toe and then do our strips. Again, you have to know your client, pay attention. If they have a lot of tight tissue in the bottom of their feet, you need to work a little softer. If they have some plantar fasciitis, maybe take the stone and press back toward the heel instead of pulling away from the heel. And then work around the ankle, the back of the heel. And then we'll repeat that on the other leg and foot, and move to the back. So I've gone ahead and undraped my client's back, and I'm just going to do the same thing. Just check for any exfoliant, do a quick cleanup if there's any residual. This is important to do because we're using an oil, and if there's any residual exfoliant on the skin, they'll feel that as we're passing through with the hot stones. So just doing that one little extra step touch up makes a big difference for your client's experience. I'm going to get some of our revitalizing massage oil. I'm just going to apply that to the back in a nice long stroke. On the arms, a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to grab, I have taken out both a larger hot stone as well as a smaller hot stone. I'm going to go ahead and apply some oil to that. I'm going to grab the larger ones to start with, check the temperature. How's that? You doing okay there? Okay, great. Let me know. And I'm going to do a long stroke down the back, all the way to the sacrum, wrap around, come up the side. And then I like to grab underneath the scapula and just come through teres major, teres minor a little bit there. And then you're going to have to lighten up to rotate the stones down the back of the arm, up the shoulder. And now we can come in and we can get a little lift on the trap here. And then transition that up the neck and into the base of the occipital ridge. Pulling off the head. And repeat. So down the back, into the sacrum, around the side, lightening up over the base of the ribs, pulling into the lateral side of the scapula, rotating down the arm, pulling back up, softening around the shoulder, lifting the trap, and then pulling up and into the occipital ridge. And then we'll repeat that 3 times. Now I'm going to start working off the spine line. Find the center of the spine and coming on either side of it, just making small separating strokes. This feels really great through the erectors. Slide up and repeat. And one more time. Now I'm going to transition to crossbody strokes. And here I'm going to really lift up. So I'm letting that pop in to that QL there. So lifting up and pulling through the QL. Lightening up as we cross over the spine. The same thing. And then we'll work our way up the body. Again, right here in these lower ribs, not a lot of tissue, so the stones are flat and the pressure is pretty soft. Just trying to get a little bit of lift. Working our way up and coming in along the edge of the scapula. And then we can come through the top of the trap. Same thing, that the very superior edge of the scapula right there can be very sensitive. So we're not pressing super hard, just paying attention to the consistency and the pressure that's coming back into us. Is that pressure okay? I'm going to take that as a yes. And then we'll come back down through the spine line again. Now here I'm going to take the edge of my stone, I'm going to come right into the SI joint, and I'm just going to do little circles. Slide off the edge of the iliac crest, come back center, slide off, come back center, and then down the arms into the hands. These stones have cooled, they're not that warm anymore, so I'm just going to leave them resting in her hand there. And I'm going to get my smaller stones that are still very warm. I'm going to do a little bit more detailed work, so I'm going to come in through the side of the scapula here and just trace the bone. And I'm using the edge of the stone. Then coming from the superior side, I'm going to get right in that little groove there. And come through supraspinatus a little bit. Working from the spine line to the medial edge of the scapula. And then I'm going to repeat that over here on the other side. Tracing the scapula. Supraspinatus. And rhomboid. Taking the edge of our stones, starting high, and just slow tracing all the way down the spine on either side of the posterior processes, all the way down to the sacrum, and then off the side. And then a small hold into the occipital ridge. At this point I can remove my stones and just do a little finishing work, pulling those movements up through the scalp and the hairline. Maybe doing some ear pulls. A little bit of detail work through the neck. And that is Biotone's Raspberry Sunrise Hot Stone Therapy. The products we're using in today's therapy are the Berry Buff Sugar Body Polish, the Mango and Mandarin Customizing Complex, Revitalizing Massage Oil, and Tangerine Essential Oil. If you would like to purchase these or other Biotone products, visit biotone.com. And while you're there, you can see other treatment protocols by clicking on the video library so that you can view this and other protocols.